How about Big Frida? What an incredible talent. We also heard from Chuck Lavelle and Mike Mills from REM featuring Big Something. It's Ari, and our Georgia Comes Alive live stream continues. We're thrilled to be in your living rooms or whatever room in your house you happen to have us on, up on a computer or a television screen. There's so much music ahead. We're going to be hearing performances from dozens of artists later on, including Dave Matthews, Diplo, the Foo Fighters, Portugal the Man. Right now, though, we're going to be talking to two representatives from the organizations that are the beneficiaries of our live stream, doing amazing work on the ground in Georgia. Helen Butler from the Georgia Coalition for the People's Agenda and Kevin Shanker Sinha from CivicGeorgia are here. How you doing, Kevin? It's nice to see you.
Thanks for having us, Ari. This has been amazing. We are so thankful for all of the support and always glad to be here with Helen.
Yeah, the feeling is definitely mutual on our end. We appreciate all the efforts that you guys have undergone, not just recently, but for a long time. And Helen, your career organizing on the ground in Georgia goes way back. I'm so thrilled you're here, Helen.
Well, thank you, Ari. Yes, it goes way back, but we've been here on the ground to make sure people could exercise their right to vote. And we're just so happy that you all are doing this great concert, these great artists. I mean, you can't ask for a better lineup than what you have. I mean, it's really awesome.
Definitely. We're excited about it, and we're excited about the work that you guys are doing. Helen, can you tell us how the voter participation movement has gained steam in Georgia over the years, building up to this really important point in our nation's history?
Well, it's really been on a steady incline, and today I'm happy to say that turnout is awesome. 1.4 million people have already exercised that right to vote, and we still have 2 weeks to go and a day for Election Day on January 5th. So happy that people are really getting out and exercising that right to vote. That's what we've worked for all these years. Our organization was founded by Dr. Joseph Lowery, those civil rights people who are fighting for the protections of the Voting Rights Act. And so we're here to carry on that legacy to make sure that people can vote without barriers.
And you're doing it quite well, let me tell you. I want to know what your approach is for reaching voters in communities that typically participate less in democracy. How do you go about doing that?
Well, we have several ways, and with COVID coming in, I had to pivot from being out in the neighborhood, talking to people at the door. What we've been doing is called digital organizing, where we've been doing phone banking, we've been doing texting, being out with the food trucks, making sure we are giving our QR codes so that they can register to vote, or the QR code to get their absentee ballot, or a QR code for pledge to vote. Your QR, whatever, we got it, So we're making sure people know the process for voting, making sure it's easy. If they don't know, we have an 866-hour vote hotline. We're providing rides to the poll. We want no one to have excuses. We're here, we can make it happen. If they encounter problems, we work with lawyers that will help us from a legal standpoint, but we have trained poll monitors out at polling locations just to assist and to make sure there's no barriers.
Oh, we love to hear it. It's amazing work, and we can't thank you enough. Kevin, can you tell us about your efforts leading up to the runoff elections recently?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, we have the fortunate opportunity to collaborate and learn from the Coalition from the People's Agenda a lot. I often say in conversation that CivicGeorgia would not exist, and it's a fact, without Helen and the People's Agenda. So a lot of what we do is really merging opportunities to make sure that people don't just know the logistical aspects of the election, the dates, the deadlines, the approaches to participate. But I think one of the key things that we learned from the People's Agenda, which was to also layer in education, make sure that people understand what these roles are, who's on the ballot, what their positions are. We're both nonpartisan organizations, so our goal is to make sure that people have the full swath of information about what's going on and how it impacts not just the country and the Senate, but also how it comes down and has direct impact in our local communities in Georgia. So we've been supporting and partnering with the People's Agenda on a lot of the efforts that Helen outlined, whether it's text banking or digital outreach events, or guiding people who are interested in being election protection workers and poll workers, to the engines that the People's Agenda has built to support those folks' interests. We're also doing some unique ideas and unique things, mainly in collaboration with Helen and her team, which include, for example, a poetry symposium that we just hosted where spoken word poets and artists shared some unique content related to civic engagement and the issues and encourage voters to come out. We're hosting chalk art events and a bus tour that's going around the state that's led by our Peaches for Progress coalition. And really the goal behind some of these more creative approaches is to recognize that while it is critical to use the fundamental tools in engaging our communities, we know that lots of folks have initial awareness of the election, and in order to just unlock their capacity for civic engagement, we might need to do something a little bit more out there. And I think the live stream that y'all have put on today is a perfect example of that. And some folks have asked, like, how do you think this plays into civic engagement? And I've said that this is exactly, like, Helen has way more experience than me in this world, but in my short few years in civic engagement, you never quite know what will click with someone, what will remind someone, what will empower them, what will just engage them to go drop off their ballot or stop by an early voting site. So we think that the concert's a great idea, and it fits right in our theme of being creative about connecting with Georgians around the elections.
I love to hear you guys are supporting the arts. It's so wonderful, and it's much needed right now. Helen, can you speak a little bit to the arts world in Georgia and the culture and in Atlanta? I mean, so many incredible music artists, just, speaking in the world of music, have been born and raised in Atlanta and come through Athens and Atlanta. I mean, it's an incredibly rich and special musical history that your state has.
It is, and Kevin is so modest. He's bringing the young people with us, older people, teaching us some new tricks. We have to learn that new stuff. But we always have great poets with us, like Hank Stewart. If you've never heard of Hank Stewart and the Stewart Foundation, he's a great poet that always has great activities. And yes, the arts is here. We have so many we did a thing with the census with Killer Mike. I mean, so what can I say? So we're learning that curve, all right? We know the basics, and Kevin is teaching us some of those things that will draw the younger crowd, that will get them engaged, and they have really turned out. I have to give it to the young people. They have turned out, and all these great artists, I will get them more engaged, not on just this election cycle, while it's
right
critical, but election cycle, because it impacts them every day, and they've got to have a voice in who represents them. And the young people have really shown up this time, and we're so proud of them. And I'm learning new stuff, new lingo. So I'm just with all of the great art history we have in Georgia. We artists, you got not only that, you got all kinds of art that is available in Atlanta. So we're happy to be a part of this.
Oh man, it's very interesting, and some might say it's not a coincidence that so much rests on the great state of Georgia, and your efforts have played such a huge part in all of that, and so we can't thank you guys enough for what you do and how you do it, and adapting and handling that pivot in the face of the pandemic, rallying people, young people, old people, bringing people together with the arts and with your respective organizations. We're thrilled that you guys are doing it. We're thrilled to support you both. Huge thanks to Kevin Shanker Sinha and Helen Butler from CivicGeorgia and the Georgia Coalition for the People's Agenda. We're going to get back to the music right now. And by the way, if you head to GeorgiaComesAlive.com, there's all kinds of experiences that you guys can donate towards and interact with some of your favorite artists. Go ahead and check the link at some point throughout your day. We're going to be hearing from Phil Lesh and Friends later on, Amos Lee in this next set, Big Head Todd, Los Lobos, G-Love, Galactic, and right now it's Andy Frasco and the UN.